We're talking about earnings, and Zee Learn joins us. Sumit Mehta, the CEO of the company, joins us right now to talk about the numbers. Mind you, they have been in an investment mode, so expectedly the numbers weren't expected to be great, but the losses have continued, though they have narrowed down from what they were doing in the same quarter, or in fact the quarter before. So on a quarter-on-quarter basis, the net loss has narrowed from 12.5 crores to 7.5 crores. Sumit, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. Actually, before we talk about individual segments, my first question to you would be that in FY12, admittedly so, you guys were in an investment mode, and therefore these numbers are probably to be expected. FY13, do you continue to remain in an investment mode? And my follow-up really is, what I'm trying to find out is that do you get into the black at the operating and at the net level in the first 2 quarters of FY13, or would it happen towards the second half?
Hi, good morning. When we had laid out our growth plan, we had said that we would need about 2 years of investment to really fuel our growth for the sustainable period. So FY12 was the first year, FY13 is going to be the second year. So we are on track with our plan. To answer your question, in FY12, the quarter-on-quarter growth in the quarter 4 is basically because education business is a seasonal business, and Jan to June is really when all the admissions take place before the school start or the preschool start. So I think that cyclicity will remain. Most of our investments are currently going into our Brain Cafe business and our own schools and preschools. So FY13, to answer your question, will continue to be in the investment mode as per our originally declared plan, and by the end of FY13 we would have made the investments that we need to maintain in Brain Cafe, and FY14 we'll be back.
Sumit, let's talk about individual segments, and let's talk about the schools business per se, the schools vertical. How is that shaping up? One, what are the quantum of investments? What is the quantum of investments that you would need to do further on in FY13? Because, we were speaking to some of your peers as well who started doing this maybe 2 or 3 years before you guys started, and they are still seeing pressure on that vertical. One, in terms of the return on the investment. Two, in terms of how business per se is shaping up too. What's your experience looking like?
I'm very sanguine and bullish about the school sector, and I think Zee Learn is in a very unique position because our portfolio is well spread. We are not completely dependent on our own schools for the school business. We have different business models to really grow our footprint in schools. As you know, a lot of Mount Litra Zee schools are under the partnership mode where a local entrepreneur actually invests in the land and building, and we provide the educational and the marketing and the advisory services to them. And then there are also schools where we have invested in the land and building. And I think this mix in our portfolio really helps us ensure that we are de-risked when there are issues in terms of infrastructure or real estate, because a large part of our business, because it is through the local entrepreneur partnership mode, continues to grow. So we do not really face a lot of the challenges that some other players are facing.
Right. What about raising funds? You are looking at some fundraising plans in terms of raising money via the GDR route. You've got approval to raise about $60 million. When is that likely to happen?
Yeah, see, as part of our growth plans, we continue to look at avenues to raise funds as and when the need arises. At this moment, we know that our game plan is to have at least 10-15 of our own schools coming up every year, and then Brain Cafe needs some investment. So we've looked at various fundraising options, and GDR being one of them. The current climate not being as helpful, so we are just looking at what is the appropriate time to raise the funds, and we're talking to various people against that.
Right. So do you think in the next 2 quarters you'll be able to raise this money?
Hard to say. I think it's got to be a combination of what is the business need and what is the right investment climate. But I think we should be looking at in the next 2-3 quarters we would need the money. But for now we are well funded for our immediate investment plan.
And there would be no equity component to this money that you're looking to raise?
We are looking at various components. Like I said, I think for the next 1 or 2 quarters, in terms of what we need, we are well funded. So we'll have to look at what are the various combinations which will make sense for us. We've not really taken a position on it yet.